Hey, a new sign. No turn. Why not? I turned onto that road. Interesting. People can't stay on the road side of the road? I don't know. Dahajo. Hello, everybody. Oh, man. There's so many classic cars out today. Well, I don't know. 30 years ago, they weren't classic. They were just cars. It goes to show you, if you stick around, maybe, you too could become a classic. A classic something. Don't let him turn you into a cube. Really? You see those classic gentlemen? Yeah, my uncle from Syracuse, my Uncle Bob, he was a car guy. He also builds incredible, like, scale models of things. He's really, really good. Gifted. He was a custodian for life. Much beloved. Got a lot of miles on those boots. And a lot of hoisted boxes on those back muscles of his. But yeah, he saw a couple of young girls, I guess, last week, and they had a lot of tattoos, and he said, "Nice decals." Typical Uncle Bob comment. To know him is to love him. Oh, Uncle Bob. I want to know, here's my question, I'll keep this one brief. I want to know what blood screams in your veins. Those of us butts, you know, like myself, what blood screams through your veins? I've been listening a lot on YouTube to a singer, Melinda, and she has sung. So here's how that happened. Is a friend of mine I don't see very often, once in 100 years, Phil LaFountain. I used to sing, lead singing at a church down in Plymouth, and he would occasionally guest preach there, but when he wasn't preaching, he was a college professor, a pilot, and a motorcyclist. I mean, a real cool dude. He's one of those guys you let the beard grow in the off season. It just grows and grows and grows, and then he'll trim it down for the hot weather. But he used to listen to me sing, and he said, I always pictured you singing "Into the West" by Annie Lennox. And of course, you know, "Into the West" is a song in reference. Did they use it in one of the Hobbit movies, one of the Lord of the Rings? I don't know. I didn't hear it associated with those. I just heard Annie Lennox singing it, I think, before I had seen any of the movies. To qualify, I'm a massive Tolkien fan. I've read The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings a number of times, you know, starting from when I was like, whatever I was, 10 years old, maybe, when I could first start to handle those books. So we're talking ages before any movie versions came out. So Into the West is a reference to the elves when they have been living where they've been living, Lothlorien and other places, long enough, when it is time, and they get the stirring in their blood that it's time, then they will sail into the West. The ships come and carry them into the West, and we're not really sure what is into the West, but we just know it's a transition, and it's away, and it's away from us. And it was sort of like a metaphor for death and passing into the afterlife. So anyhow, that song "Into the West" is wonderful. And when I get a song and it's in my head over and over and over again, I'll listen to it. And then I love to find covers of it. So seeking covers of "Into the West" by Annie Lennox, sung by other people, I stumbled upon Melinda, and really been enjoying her videos of late. And the reason I bring it up is because she sings, and sings masterfully, Irish songs, a lot of Irish songs, and some of them are in the Irish language. And you know, her pronunciation is terrific, and certainly you would think, oh, here's a girl, she's from Ireland. What's up, dude? Well, she did a DNA test, and she's, much to her surprise, 15% Irish. That's it. You know, she's got a lot of other influences as well, and she has way more Scottish. I think it was like 34% Scottish, which was a surprise to her and the family. But she referenced, like, it's the Irish that screams loudest in her blood. I don't know if she worded it that way, but that's what really comes through with authenticity, I should say. She said that Irish people, when she meets them, or she goes to Ireland or whatever, they ask her, oh, where in Ireland is your family from? Or where are you from in Ireland? Well, it turns out only 15%, according to, I think it was Ancestry.com or something. And, but it's the Irish that screams loudest in her veins. And, I mean, that's easy to see because Irish music is, I mean, it really screams in my veins too. There's something of a time gone by in the melodies and in the melancholy. It really resonates with me as well. But I'm really interested in someday soon taking an ancestry test. I would like to know. I want to see, this guy's got a green bike. It looks cool. I'd like to know what I have in my blood. I got a friend who's got a little Neanderthal, you know, and that's not unheard of, but that's cool. But it was a surprise. I'd like to know. You know, my dad, you know, people consider us white, and I suppose that's what you check off in the thing. It's very broad. I mean, we're mutts. We got a lot of different countries of origin, but my dad surprisingly has some, you know, Cameroon, Congo, and Southern Bantu in his blood. Where that comes from, no one knows, but, you know, I don't know. He had less Italian. We have an Italian last name, and expected a great deal of Italian blood. His father is 100% Italian, and but not so. As a smaller percentage, he actually had more, I think maybe French or something. Surprise, surprise. But you know, people get around, and borders change and whatever. But short story long, as usual, in my case, it's the Italian that has always shouted the loudest in his veins and in our family's veins. Oh, my LED light's not bright enough for you, huh? So anyway, it was a surprise to see how little had actually carried through. And, surprise, surprise. But it's the Italian that shouts the loudest, the Irish that shouts the loudest for Melinda. And, you know, my friend, I got a good friend, Steve. He's never done the ancestry test, and he won't. He will not. But you would swear he's got 100% Irish on both sides. You would swear it. Hey, maybe the Irish are just loud. Anyway, I'd love to do the test. I'd be interested to see what has carried through from my father's side. My mother hasn't done the test, but I think it'd be really cool. I don't know. My dad would be interested in seeing what came through to me or not, but maybe that's something I can get done in the next couple of months. I mean, COVID really threw a wrench at that. Nobody wanted to just send in body fluid samples around the globe. Unless it's, you know, Paul McCartney sneezed into a tissue and it goes on eBay for $1 billion, but people don't seem to have a problem with that. Anyhow, I'd like to do that. So here we go. Now I'm getting around to the crux of it, then I'll let you go. I said this was going to be short, but, you know, I have to qualify. This is me we're talking to. So, what blood shouts the loudest in you? Some of you guys are pretty homogenous. And you know, you just, you know, you're both nearly, you're 98% something, and that's that. But for you butts out there like me, who have like a lava lamp of influences and have a whole bunch of different countries swimming around in the old veins, what shouts the loudest in your life? You know, you get that Portuguese side going through. You got that Italian, Irish, you got Nigerian blood, you know. Bawani to my Nigerian friends, although you got how many different languages in Nigeria, so. What do you got? What shouts loudest in your household? Or have you been, here's one, have you been taught that you're 100% French? And it turns out you don't have any French in you at all? Another popular one, at least among some of my black friends, is often claimed a good percentage of Native American blood, and sometimes it turns out that there's zero. Actually, one of my favorite shows I haven't seen in ages is Finding Your Roots with Henry Louis Gates Jr. And he had one of the Wayans brothers on one time, and the Wayans brothers are black. You know, they're black American comedians and actors, and I forget which Wayan brother it was, but he got his test results back, and he actually had a great deal of Southeast Asian blood. You know, and he had one of the funnier quotes, because he thought he was 100% African, 100% African origin, and yeah, maybe some Native American or something. But he said, you know, I think I grow up, I'm thinking I'm black and I'm Chinese. Like, it was just really funny, because you just don't know what carries through in the DNA. So I think it's wonderful. I think it's sometimes hilarious what comes through and what doesn't. But what's coming through, folks? What's coming through in your blood and in your house? And any of you who have taken the tests, have you been surprised by the results? I wonder if I'll be surprised if and when I get around to doing it. I know. Somebody in the comments is probably going to say, well, they're taking your DNA and they're gonna track you and do this and blah blah blah, and in the future you won't be able to get aspirin because they see that you have a proclivity towards blah blah blah. Well, you know, I don't know, man. The way the world is going, I don't give a rip about that. If people are gonna get your DNA, they're just gonna get it. That's all there is to it. So at least let me take a peek at the ingredients before you take it. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at this point. Maybe that's you know, on the other side of, I'm about 47 years old. Oh man, he swapped it out. He got a cannon and he's got another gun. Oh, was that a Gatling gun or some sort of, wasn't a Gatling, but maybe it was. Alright guys, Matt the Greeter, show me your blood. And let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to hear about you guys. In the meantime, Matt the Greeter, I care about you. Be good to yourself. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.